Hi fight fans and welcome to another MMA fighting video. After having an incredible MMA career, cementing his status as one of the best featherweights of all time, the UFC legend Jose Aldo parted ways with the UFC last year and just had his boxing debut. The Brazilian faced the violent UFC veteran Jeremy Stephens, and after the fight, the UFC's biggest star, Conor McGregor, made a boxing proposal that surprised many. Leon Edwards, the English fighter of Jamaican origin, closed the Kamaru Usman chapter in his book after winning again in the rematch, leaving the door open for new potential challengers for the welterweight title. Although it was just a reveal that the UFC is targeting Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington as a main event in July in London, the welterweight champion seems not very interested in Colby, and the American had something to say regarding that. Let's take a closer look at this news and analyze it more profoundly. Conor McGregor's boxing proposal. Although the UFC legends Jose Aldo and Jeremy Stephens parted ways with the UFC, they remained active on the combat sports stage. They faced each other on April 1st, 2023, and delivered a very close fight, leaving fans with divided opinions on who won. Aldo appeared to be the more technical boxer, while Stephens, using his Mexican style of fighting, refused to back down, throwing bombs until the final bell. Jose's jab was his first weapon of choice early as he displayed fantastic speed and good boxing technique, neutralizing Jeremy's power by tagging him with punches. Like in his MMA career, Aldo was rather patient in his approach. However, whenever the opportunity knocked on the door, he attacked Stephens with a fury of punches, implementing his speed as an advantage over power, mixing his strikes, working the body, and returning to the head. Knowing Aldo's style doesn't possess enough power to knock him out, Stephens was confident of keeping the pace and happily stood in the middle of the ring, ready to exchange. He delivered some bombs of his own, which made Aldo even more cautious in the exchanges. Jeremy, doing what he does best, keeping the pressure while constantly kicking his opponents, used the same strategy against Aldo. By the midpoint of the fourth round, he kept attacking the Brazilian, keeping him on his back foot while inviting him to a slugfest. However, this aggressive style comes at a cost, as the American was slowing down in the later rounds. Aldo appeared to be the fresher fighter and kept attacking Jeremy with beautiful combinations to the head and body. In the closing seconds of their bout, the UFC veterans went toe-to-toe, launching bombs at each other and ending the fight very entertainingly. When it was over, one judge scored 58-56 for Aldo, while the other two scored the fight 57-57, which meant the final decision was a majority draw. Immediately after the fight, Stephens called for a rematch, hoping to settle the score in boxing. They had already met in MMA once, and Aldo brutalized Stephens with a massive body shot that knocked the American down. However, in boxing, they delivered a very close and competitive fight that could be an overture for a rematch. Aldo said afterward, "Jeremy is a very tough guy. I knew it would be like that. It's my second match. My corner was telling me I was way ahead, that I was winning well, so I decided to fight right. Jeremy's a tough guy, has knockout power, and it's a different weight class because I'm lighter, but I don't get it." This bout did not go unnoticed. The UFC superstar and Aldo's former opponent Conor McGregor posted a tweet, "Me and Aldo should box in the future." That surprised many, considering that Aldo has been calling McGregor out in the past, and the Irishman never answered the call. The Notorious knocked Aldo out in only 13 seconds, scoring the fastest knockout in a title fight. The Brazilian was obviously devastated by that loss and immediately tried to have his rematch, a wish which McGregor never granted. And now, years later, Conor is finally interested in facing Jose Aldo again, but in a boxing ring instead of the octagon. However, the Brazilian quickly responded to Conor, and now the tables have turned. Conor has a big mouth. He always talks a lot of crap. He has a scheduled fight. Conor, shut your mouth. We were supposed to fight before in the UFC. You run, and now you still talk crap, Aldo told reporters in response to McGregor's tweet. Conor McGregor has been more active on Twitter lately than in the octagon, and Jose Aldo could see right through it. Conor targets everyone on Twitter, which is his only way to keep himself relevant. Although a second fight between Aldo and Conor is doubtful ever to capitalize, history has shown that anything is possible regarding matchmaking, and there's still a chance to see these two MMA elites face each other again. By the way, if you like the video so far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Edwards versus Covington UFC 291. The UFC reportedly targets a July date in London for Leon Edwards' next welterweight title defense. As the UFC president Dana White previously mentioned, the matchmakers are trying to schedule Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington next. Although Edwards versus Covington was not the initial plan, as per Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated, the UFC has now decided to go with that plan due to the buzz created by Covington being cage-side for Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman at UFC 286 a couple of weeks ago. Also, Barrasso noted that Combat Sports UK reported that the UFC intends to return to London for a pay-per-view event on July 22nd. The Jamaican-born fighter just scored the most significant victory of his career against his bitter rival Kamaru Usman. While some fans saw their second bout as a fluke since Kamaru was winning the fight before the infamous head kick, Rocky shut the critics by delivering a performance masterpiece in their third bout when he outclassed Usman in a 5-round war. Colby Covington and Islam Makhachev immediately called out Leon Edwards, hoping to get a shot at the welterweight title. The winner between Jorge Masvidal and Gilbert Burns would also be in the title picture, especially if Masvidal wins, considering the backstage incident they had a few years back. However, the UFC president shut all the rumors and named Colby Covington the next title challenger. He also stated that if it weren't for Usman, Colby would be the best welterweight fighter in the world, and therefore he deserves a title shot next. The UFC is a company that values business. Dana White and the matchmakers know that Colby Covington would be the company's biggest draw and gain them the most attention and pay-per-view buys. Colby would trash-talk Edwards, he'd bring America versus England history, provoking the English people by calling them occupiers while praising his people as those who fought for freedom. Such provocations would get a lot of viewers and buys, and it seems that this could be the main reason why the UFC wants Colby to fight for the welterweight title next. However, the champion is not interested in Colby Covington's fight, and booking this bout might be more complex than anyone can anticipate. Chaos is not too concerned about this and believes it's not up to Leon to decide. Covington told MMA Fighting, "No one else decides, not Leon, not these groupie journalists, these fanboys that are crying," which by the way is absolutely hilarious. "If you're asking me how I'm doing great because all of my haters are miserable right now." At the same time, Colby revealed that he is ready to fight whenever the UFC management gives him a call. He said, "I'll be ready. If they want me to co-main event UFC 290, I'll co-main event International Fight Week. Whatever they want. If they want June, August, May, April, whatever the UFC wants. I'll leave that up to the big bosses because they decide." The reason why Edwards is trying to avoid a fight against Colby is that the American wrestler is a terrible match for him. Colby's style is pressuring the opponents against the cage, using his superior wrestling to neutralize them and outpacing them with his cardio. Colby would constantly be at Leon's face, not letting him implement his striking game, and at the same time, he would mix striking with wrestling. If this fight ever capitalizes, Leon will need to develop a brilliant strategy, but even then, it would be doubtful that he could stop Covington. Leon displayed a beautiful takedown defense against Usman, but Covington's wrestling and pressure are something different. Usman kept trying to take Leon down by using double-leg takedown from a distance, and the Jamaican was ready for that. Colby, on the other hand, has various techniques to take Leon down, and the English fighter would have a lot of things to worry about. Sean O'Malley title shot. By beating Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley has proved to the world that he is championship material, and it's only a matter of time before he gets his next title shot. The American fighter has been one of the most famous athletes on the UFC roster, and he backed up his popularity by delivering some outstanding performances in the octagon. During his Bro Malley podcast on Friday, O'Malley said that the UFC has already granted him the next shot at the 135-pound title. "I'll probably fight twice this year, depending on how fights go, how fights play out. My next fight will be huge, guaranteed. The winner of Henry and Aljo, I talked to the UFC, that's happening. It's official. The winner of that fight, I will fight the winner. It's gonna be huge," O'Malley said. While O'Malley has only lost once inside the octagon, he's yet to compete for UFC gold. Critics who believe O'Malley lacks experience and question the quality of his wins don't think he's ready for a title shot. However, his star power, popularity, and victory against former champion Peter Yan might be enough to grant Sugar a title shot next. And what do you guys think? Do you believe Jose Aldo should fight Conor McGregor in a boxing ring rather than the octagon? Who do you think would win if Colby Covington fights Leon Edwards next? Do you believe that Sean O'Malley deserves a title shot next? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe.